Shalom, kings and queens. Welcome back to It's Within. Today, I want to talk to you guys about embracing our bad. Um, of course, we all want to do what's right. We all want to live a righteous life. But we have to also remember that our Creator is the creator of all things, both good and bad. And for us to only embrace His good creations and not His bad creations, we're setting a limit on our love for our Creator. When we look within ourselves, we take pride and we feel good about the good within us. But the bad that's within us, because within each of us is good and bad. No person is all good and no person is all bad. But we live in a world to where we only embrace good, and the bad, whether it be bad thoughts, bad events, bad people, or bad behaviors, we shun them away, and we talk down on them and we look down on them. But our Creator, once again, we all have things that we've done that we're not proud of. We're going to continue, to make those mistakes, but we have to truly embrace ourselves. If we only love the good about ourselves, but the bad we tuck it away, we're not truly loving ourselves fully, and we can never truly love the next person fully. We all are very guilty of looking at the next person and judging them, because we only expect to see good out of people, and that goes from friendships to relationships to marriage to your children. We only praise the good, and whenever their bad starts to show out, we shun it away, which, we shun it in a way that's more like a neglect, like all that doesn't need to be there type thing. And for God to have created both good and bad, apparently He knew what He was doing. And everything is just made by its uniqueness. And honestly, we all don't truly love ourselves fully, and it's hard for us to love other people, because if we only are okay with the good aspects about ourselves, but the bad things, like our past, for instance, if our past isn't the best, we're not quick to tell people about that. We're only quick to tell people about the good parts of us, and we hesitate to tell them about our shortcomings. We hesitate to tell them about our mistakes, and to tell ourselves that we're all good and that there's no bad within us, or to tell ourselves that we're bad people because we've done bad things. Those are lies that we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves that, of course we want to be good people. Of course, that's the goal. But we are not all good. There is no such thing as all good, and there is no such thing as all bad. And honestly, it's like we're all walking around living this lie that we're only good people. If our God said He created both good and bad for His own good pleasure, we're His creation. So we consist of both good and bad. So for us to, which I'm guilty of, for us to sit up and point out somebody else's flaw or point out somebody else's shortcoming and make them out as a bad person, as if we're perfect and like we have absolutely no imperfections, or as if we've never made a mistake, or as if we never have a negative thought or a bad thought or bad behaviors, bad habits, That's hypocrisy from us, and it's also us being judgmental. I actually see why we're being told not to be judgmental, because we are not all good. One without sin cast the first stone. None of us can throw a stone at one another, because we all have no we have no place to talk, because we all consist of bad. Okay, even the nicest teacher, which I was a substitute teacher. My students probably swear up and down I've never done a bad thing a day in my life, and they probably think I'm all good, and I'm not. Even the people that we look up to, that we're like, oh, they are amazing. We have to remember that everybody that we see, they're trying their best to only present forth the good in them. They're only trying to show half of themselves. They're tucking away that dark energy that creates them. They're taking away the other half of them that creates them, because they want to only show forth the good. Why? Because they know they're going to get judged. Me, myself, personally, I have a very wild character. I'm very spontaneous, some call me indecisive, I would say I'm all over the place, I'm energetic, but which a lot of people will consider that bad, so that's my bad side. But I always try to put forth this calm, this poise, this elegant, this put together image, because that's what's expected of me. That's the good side of me that people love to see, and I tuck away my other half, and we all are guilty of it. We only are showing forth half of ourselves. We're not living to our full potential, because we're so worried that our world has labeled already what's good, what's bad. We know it, but we only put forth what's good. When we first meet somebody in our relationship, in a marriage, even dealing with our kids, we only put forth the good starting out. And then in a relationship, once we get comfortable with that person and we know we're secure with them, then we want to show that other half of ourselves. And honestly, it's unfair to both ourselves for feeling like we have to do that to ourselves, and it's unfair to those other people also, because it's kind of like, why didn't you show me your full self at first? But we're all walking around living halfly. There's only like a handful of people that can truly embrace their negative aspects, embrace their bad habits. Like, there's a very few amount of people, and those people that we see that do that, most of the world look down on them, and they're like, why don't you care about how people view you? Or why are you doing this and it's not right, and it's very hard to show your bad side in the world that we live in, because we've all been conditioned to only look for good and to only put forth good. But if we do that, it creates an imbalance. We're both good and bad. We're both bad and good. You can't get good without a little bad, and you can't get bad without a little good, But we're not being our full selves. We're only being half of ourselves, but it takes a lot of courage to walk in the world and embrace your good and your bad. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of confidence to flaunt your negative aspects, because once again, those types of things get looked down on. We talk about doing good so much that we forget the whole other side of us. What about the other side? What are we supposed to do with that? Just tuck it away like it doesn't exist? That means we will all be walking around lying to not only the people that we see, but ourselves. When we present ourselves in public and we only show forth the good, that's being deceitful. Like, we're not really being ourselves, And for me personally, which something else that I was guilty of, just because it's a bad habit that we got rid of, that doesn't mean we can look at other people and be like, oh, you don't need to be doing that. And like looking down on people, because just because they're bad isn't like the type of bad that you do, doesn't make it worse. That's a word that me and my stepmom had covered. It's called a false imbalance. When two people do wrong, but for some odd reason, one of them feels like their wrong isn't as bad as the next person's wrong. We all are guilty. All of us. You know, it mentioned we all are. And if we can't admit that we have a bad side, how are we supposed to shun it away properly? How are we supposed to nurture it away? We're lying to ourselves. We're lying to our family. We're lying to our friends. We're just lying to everybody when we walk around and we only show half of ourselves. Like, why do we feel the need to do that? You know, and talking to my sister, like, I never thought like this before. Like, my sister, when me and her sat up and talked about this, I was just blown by her perspective on things. Like, that's why I love talking to people, because each person's mind is so unique and so different. And when you talk to them, it expands your thinking. Like, I've never thought of it like this, like, ever. I always thought that, you know, we're supposed to put only good out in the world, you know. You only want to show the good in you and stuff like that. And she was like, well, if you're doing that and you're saying that you all good, you're lying to yourself. Because we're made up of both good and bad. How you gonna be just good? How? You can't just be all good. Well, you will be considered incomplete. That's only showing half of you. You can't get light without dark. So we all have some form of darkness within us. You know, just because their wrong might look a little weird compared to our wrong doesn't mean that our wrong becomes any more better to each other. Like, if we all can grasp the concept of what my sister mentioned, which is the simple fact that none of us are all good, and that we all have a dark side, dark thoughts, dark habits, dark qualities, whatever you want to call it, until we can all embrace the fact that we all have both good and bad to us, and no one understand it. Just because the next person's bad is different from ours doesn't mean it's any worse. As soon as we can grasp our mind around that, that's when the judging will go away. You know, that's when I really believe that everybody will get along. When everybody knows that and accepts that, we can all see that we really all are on the same page. You know, just because this person's status or this person's image seems to be more holier than yours, doesn't mean that they're better of a person than you. Because guess what? They have their negative aspects. They may not show it to you, but when they get home, they let them out. And even if they don't let them out at all, they may be going on up here. You know, we all were created perfectly. Even our bad side was created perfectly. And for us to just shun that away and not embrace it, you know, and like, I see like why people that like attend the churches and whatnot, I see why they kind of get frustrated, because for us to be individuals that are made up of both good and bad and be pressured to only be good and only focus on good, but like neglect your, you know, that side, I could see why our people get frustrated. You know, I see why a lot of people shun away from, you know, doing what's right. Because if you only do good, and which is a good thing, but like, if you only are showing forth half of yourself, which is the good side, you know, it's kind of like the negative side, it gets jealous. It's kind of like, oh, so you're just gonna show that side forward, and then it just creates this storm within yourself, and then you realize that like you're not really being real with yourself. I love talking to people. You will be amazed at the way the next person thinks. That's why I think we all just need to just sit and talk. Everybody around the world just needs to put all their thoughts like on the table, because that talk that I had with my sister, it was just mind blowing. Like, I've never heard an individual think like that, you know. But you know, everything was made in our God's creation perfectly. Our God made our imperfections perfectly. our bad side was made beautifully. Our God said he didn't make it just good. Our God made it very good. Oh man. Oh man. So, you know, we have to be brave and acknowledge our other half, our soulmate. Y'all, what if that's our real soulmate? Oh man. Oh man. Because we only show forth the good in ourselves, and the other half of us is what the world looks down on and what the rest of the world hates. What if that's our soulmate? The side that we always want to get rid of, our bad side. Oh man. So that's our soulmate? Oh wow. That's interesting. I'll just have to say that for the next time, for the next video, I guess. But thank y'all for tuning in. I hope this made sense to anybody else that's watching. If I have to make another video on it, I will. You know, when I first had the conversation with my sister, honestly, it didn't click in my head at first. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, but hearing her talk more about it, I'm just like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. But you know, y'all comment, share, like, subscribe. But most definitely, I really just want y'all to like let me know what y'all think about this topic, because this is just mind blowing. Like seriously, this is mind blowing, and I just really wanted to share with you all. And yeah, it just all falls back to our closing remarks, which is always be real, be true, be you. You know, if we're only showing forth the good in ourselves and we're not showing our unpolished side, at the end of the day, we're only hurting ourselves, and we're stopping us from living to our full potential, because we want to live this stiff life of what's considered good, you know, and you know, we're honestly living our lives through the goggles of somebody else. You know, we think, oh, if I do that, this person's gonna look at me like this, or if I say that, this person's gonna look at me like this, you know, and we shun away that side of us to please others, and that's not a life to live. You know, all my life personally, I've lived that life, and it is frustrating, it's overwhelming, and I just say, be real, be true,